Why didn't Sheepstealer fight back? House of the Dragon Season 3 explained. Warning, spoiler warning. Before we begin, this video contains major spoilers for House of the Dragon Season 3, Episode 7. We'll be breaking down Sheepstealer's surprising behavior during the dragon battle, why the wild dragon eventually stopped fighting, and what it reveals about wild dragons in George R.R. Martin's world. With that said, let's get started. One of the biggest surprises in House of the Dragon Season 3, Episode 7 wasn't that Sheepstealer fought, it was that Sheepstealer eventually stopped fighting. At the beginning of the battle, the wild dragon is fearless. It attacks Syrax, it holds its own against Seasmoke, it even manages to injure one of the royal dragons. For a moment, it looks like Sheepstealer might actually survive impossible odds. But then, Caraxes arrives. The battle changes completely, and many fans noticed something strange. Why didn't Sheepstealer keep fighting? Why didn't the wild dragon continue attacking until the very end? Was Sheepstealer simply weaker than the others, or was something much deeper happening? Let's break it all down. The first thing we need to understand is this. Sheepstealer isn't like the other dragons. Syrax, Caraxes, Seasmoke, they've spent years bonded to Targaryen riders. They've flown into battles, they've responded to commands, they're used to fighting for people. Sheepstealer isn't. Before finding a rider, Sheepstealer spent years surviving completely alone. No dragon pit, no dragon keepers, no army protecting it. Every day was about one thing: survival. That completely changes how Sheepstealer approaches danger. A trained war dragon may continue fighting because its rider refuses to retreat. A wild dragon doesn't think that way. A wild dragon asks a much simpler question. Can I survive this? If the answer is yes, it fights. If the answer becomes no, it looks for a way out. That's not cowardice. At first, Sheepstealer believes it can win. It only has to deal with Syrax. Then, Seasmoke joins the fight. The odds become much worse. Even then, Sheepstealer refuses to surrender. The dragon keeps attacking, keeps dodging, keeps trying to create space. It proves exactly why it survived in the wilderness for so many years. Then, everything changes. Caraxes enters the battlefield. This isn't just another dragon. This is Daemon Targaryen's dragon, one of the largest, most experienced, and most feared dragons alive. Caraxes has fought in real wars. He knows exactly how to overpower another dragon. The moment he arrives, Sheepstealer is no longer fighting one opponent. It's facing overwhelming force. Many viewers interpreted Sheepstealer's behavior as giving up, but that's probably not what happened. Watch the sequence carefully. Sheepstealer doesn't simply stop. The dragon becomes defensive. Instead of launching reckless attacks, it begins looking for an opening. That's exactly what a wild predator would do. In nature, survival is more important than victory. Living another day is better than dying in a fight you cannot win. There's another important detail. Unlike dragons raised by the Targaryens, Sheepstealer has never fought as part of an organized war. It doesn't understand battle formations. It doesn't fight for banners, or crowns, or revenge. It only understands immediate danger. Once multiple dragons surround it, its instincts shift from attack to escape. Another fascinating detail is that Sheepstealer had already spent enormous energy earlier in the confrontation. Fighting another dragon isn't like fighting a human. Every burst of dragon fire, every dive, every collision in the air drains tremendous strength. By the time Caraxes joins the battle, Sheepstealer has already been fighting for several minutes. It's injured, exhausted, and now facing the most dangerous dragon in Westeros. Continuing to attack would almost certainly mean death. Some fans have even suggested that Sheepstealer recognized Caraxes. While the show doesn't confirm this, it's an interesting theory. Dragons appear capable of recognizing one another. Caraxes has earned a fearsome reputation across Westeros. If Sheepstealer sensed the bloodworm's overwhelming strength, it may have realized that survival, not victory, was the only realistic option. That's a fan theory, rather than something confirmed by the episode, but it fits with how intelligent dragons are often portrayed. Perhaps that's what makes Sheepstealer so fascinating. The royal dragons fight for glory, for kings, for queens, for dynasties. Sheepstealer fights for life. It has no interest in politics, no loyalty to the Iron Throne, no desire to become part of someone else's war. It simply refuses to die. And in many ways, that's what makes it one of the smartest dragons in the entire series. There's another detail hidden in this battle that completely changes how we should look at Sheepstealer. Most viewers expected the wild dragon to behave like Caraxes, or Syrax, or Seasmoke. But Sheepstealer isn't a royal dragon. It has never lived inside the dragon pit. It has never been trained by dragon keepers. And for most of its life, it answered to no one. That means Sheepstealer doesn't think like the dragons raised by House Targaryen. It thinks like a wild predator. In nature, the strongest animal isn't always the one that keeps fighting. It's the one that knows when the fight is already lost. That's exactly what Sheepstealer seems to realize. At the beginning of the battle, the odds are manageable. One dragon, then two. The wild dragon still believes it has a chance. It fights fiercely. It refuses to surrender. It even manages to wound one of the dragons attacking it. But once Caraxes enters the sky, everything changes. This isn't a fight anymore. It's survival. There's also another fascinating possibility. Sheepstealer may have recognized that the dragons attacking it weren't trying to chase it away anymore. They were trying to kill it. Animals often behave differently when they realize escape is their only chance. Instead of wasting energy on attacks that won't change the outcome, they begin searching for the smallest opening, the smallest mistake, one chance to survive. That's exactly what Sheepstealer appears to do. Rather than fighting with anger, it starts fighting with patience, waiting, watching, looking for the perfect moment to break free. This also tells us something about the intelligence of dragons. Throughout House of the Dragon, dragons aren't portrayed as mindless beasts. They make choices. They react to changing situations. They adapt. Sheepstealer's decision wasn't necessarily an act of fear. It may have been an act of intelligence. The dragon understood something the riders perhaps didn't. There was nothing left to gain by continuing the battle. Living to see another day was far more valuable than dying in a hopeless fight. Perhaps that's why Sheepstealer has survived for so many years, while other dragons have fallen. Not because it's the strongest, not because it's the biggest, but because it has mastered something even more important: knowing when to fight and knowing when survival is the greatest victory of all. That instinct is what makes Sheepstealer one of the most unique and unpredictable dragons in all of Westeros. So, why didn't Sheepstealer fight back until the very end? Because winning was never the goal. Survival was. The wild dragon fought when it had a chance. It defended itself against impossible odds. But the moment the battle became unwinnable, its instincts took over. Instead of dying for someone else's war, Sheepstealer chose to live. And perhaps that's exactly why it survived for so many years before anyone ever managed to ride it. Unlike the royal dragons, Sheepstealer doesn't fight for honor. It fights only when it must. And sometimes, the smartest warrior isn't the one who wins every battle. It's the one who knows when to walk away. So what do you think? Did Sheepstealer make the right decision by trying to survive? Or should the wild dragon have continued fighting Caraxes until the very end? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more House of the Dragon explained videos, dragon lore, hidden details, and fire and blood theories.